Welcome in the ring, folks. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to have all of you here with us this evening. Well, I miss having our introduction. I miss having it, and I gotta stop talking while the special effects songs are playing because it kind of mutes me, you know? Hoping that wasn't the case. But how are you folks doing? Wherever you're joining us from, happy to have you here with us. Share the live, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. Who me and who you and who him and who her. Good to have all of you here with us tonight. Ingrid and the other folks says we're getting some trouble trying to get through to Facebook. No easy day, good folks. We're going to keep trying. We're going to keep trying. Happy to have all of you here with us this evening. Happy to have all of you here with me. Good to see you, folks. Hope the day started well. We're seeing it selling us. We're having some struggles to get through to Facebook. Not too fast. That's the whole problem. You're all too fast. Good to have you, Romel and Emerson and Marla. My God, these programs. No easy day. If you're joining us on Facebook, thank you, Lucky Stars. I think it might have gone through that time. Gavin Jacobs is here, and I see Rhonda and Claire. Never met me Rhonda, I didn't like. Never met me Rhonda, I didn't like. Never met me Rhonda, I didn't like. But happy to have all of you. If it's saying we're getting trouble to get through to Facebook, it means that we still have a program that's running live on our Facebook page. And maybe that is the struggle we're having with. Good to have all of you here with us. Wherever you're joining us from tonight, folks, we're going to hold a second or two for that to wrap up. And then we're going to make another go. We're going to make another go at it. I think, that program is happening. Our credit program is still running. We were waiting for that, and it's still running on our page. They get a little moderation now, They get a little moderation now. But as soon as they're done, folks, as soon as they're done, good to have each and every one of you here with us. Share the live for us. Smash that emoji button as well. Smash that emoji button as well. All right, good to see you, folks. We're gonna hold for the program to conclude. And I'm sending a message to the guys to help us out. Sending a quick message. Good to have all of you here with us, as I said. Wherever you all are joining us from tonight, folks. Happy to have all of you folks here with us. How you all doing? Good to have all of you folks. Gotta make sure we're looking sharp for you folks who have joined us here. We got Allison and we got Roderick and we got Savage and Wilma and Leslie. All the people we love and admire. We got some things to share with you tonight. The PvP getting moderation. More moderation. And as I said on my Facebook page, Tracy Clark, good to see you there. Mark and Mandy Roderick. When the government has got to come out and kind of walk itself back, we're in trouble. They've had to come out and walk themselves back, and oh my God, it's such a sad affair. But good to have you, the guys who are telling us we have the runway. That's what they're telling us. We have the runway. It remains to be seen. Auntie Sandra, I think we've gotten through to Facebook now. We'll see Rodwick and Rena and all the folks joining us. Sandra and Grace and Carolyn. Good to have you folks on the live. Happy to have you all on the live. We're going to share a couple of things with you all. So you're fun. Dress up, dress up, dress up. Dress up, dress up, dress up. It is what it is. You know how. Fun in its finest. Joyce Simpson, they tell us, if you sell what the firm is wearing there, you could smell, you could feed a small village here. You could feed a small village in Guyana. Roderick, Evelina, how you all doing? Mandy Cummins, you could feed a small village, yeah. You know how. So your comments distracted me. Simone and the other folks joining us, happy to have you on the line. We can come to all that. Simone Graves, how are you doing? Good to have you on the live, Simone, and the other folks who are joining us. Yeah, the folks think try now, but the trying don't seem to like us. Right? The trying don't seem to. You don't realize we're just trying. We're basing time to get through to Facebook. We're basing. Ariane, you all let us know if we run. We like it. These are the vicissitudes of doing these programs live, you know. These are the vicissitudes of doing the program live. But good to have all of you all here with us. It's just that this credits program, advancing the cause, is still on. And I really don't want to shortchange our folks on Facebook. I really don't want to I don't want to shortchange. Right? They're confusing me at this point. But good to have you folks joining us on the tube. Always faithful. That's why we migrated most of our audience to YouTube. And you guys were so gracious, you know, to take our advice. This is the vicissitudes of Facebook. They blew up. Every time you come on, they blew up. It's something. You know, there's something. Look, we ain't gotta do a green up. We ain't gotta do a green up. Every time you come on, we get him bad name all the time. You know, we get him bad name. We won't come through. You know, I think on YouTube, how much of a program is you wanna run through your channel? That's you. That's your business. You know, but we're in a whole patch now. And let us see if the third time is a charm. Let us see. Perhaps it is. If the folks on Facebook can join us. How much time we know? 6 minutes and counting. Plus, we trying to get on here. 6 minutes and counting. Angela, good to see you. And Keith Spelling, how are you doing? Grateful to have you with us, Keith, and all the other folks joining us, and Wilma and Brenda and Eva, all the us. Y'all notice that? Good to have you good folks with us tonight. I'm waiting to see a comment from Facebook, and then we'll know how we're doing. If the folks from Facebook, you all are joining us, so you are special. We've been in a holding pattern, waiting for you all. If the folks from Facebook, do we have them? I see John on YouTube, and Joseph on the tube, and Humi on the tube, and all the folks joining us, Roxy and Joyce, and yes, and now we see Leon is the first person. Leon Logan is here with us from Facebook. We've been waiting for y'all, trying to get through to the page, but we know you guys were watching Coretta's beautiful program, Advancing the Cause. Good to see Destro, and I think we had on today Mr. Jai Karan. Mr. Jai Karan hosted the program today. Mandy and Marcus and Campton. I got one of you to sit in for me every now and again. You know, yep, Tit, Abida, Melanda and Deborah. Simone Graves, what about you? You know, once in a while, I need a break too, you know. Roxanne and Deirdre, we've been holding for you beautiful folks. Smash that emoji button for us. I know the folks from YouTube, like you all, emojis don't come through. Eula, good to have you. Yuli Trotman. I saw you and thought Eula Lafferman Rubens. Guys, this is there, and Chandel and Kathian. You know, I like giving you guys a shout out. I wish you could do this the whole hour. would make the job so much easier. But good to have each and every one of you on the broadcast tonight. Good to have you all here with us. Good folks, we got a couple of things on the fight card tonight. It's not plenty. If it's not enough, we got a couple of things we want to share with you, and then we can come out your face so that you guys can go ahead and have a fantastic rest of the evening. As I'm saying that, I sip some water there for the old throat. For the old throat. Listen, I don't know if you can get me here, but let me put it out there nonetheless. Right? I love my age. Right? I love my age. You're at a stage in your life, you're comfortable in your skin. You know, nobody can say nothing but you personally, physically, that would upset you. I love the skin that I'm in. But I don't like old age. I don't like getting older. I find I get less patience with people and so forth. And sometimes I gotta recalibrate. I find that I shouldn't have to, I'm at a point in my life I shouldn't gotta explain myself too much. You know? I shouldn't have. If I want to stretch, that's it. bend down and shine my show at the same time, you don't bother with nothing else. You know, you had a place. I love the age and stage, but like I don't like what. Folks, welcome to our broadcast. Let's share a couple things with you guys, and then we ought to be here. On a very serious note, you know, this afternoon I was looking at the Jamaican Prime Minister. I was looking at the Jamaican Prime Minister, and I was thinking as we were prepping for this, how we saw out the timing this guy needs. Everybody else in this Caribbean region that we subscribe to, they got a Prime Minister. We have to get the president. How we out the timing and backwards. They must just watch me and say, look at this set here. Look at this set. Oh, the timing is a Trinidadian phrase. They say, look them. You know, we say out of order. Trinidad's a little backward too, you know. Out of timing. Look how they're out of timing. You know, we're a little out of timing too. We have to get an executive president. You know, a prime minister wouldn't do. We have to go one step above. So I was watching the prime minister of Jamaica doing an aerial tour of is it St. Catherine's, wherever it was, on the beautiful island. And my God, Hurricane Melissa. I don't know if Melissa's the wife, you know, she's the outside chick or what, but Melissa mash up Jamaica. You know, my heart went out to all Jamaicans and goes out to all Jamaicans. I saw the Prime Minister says that they're going to rebuild brick by brick. That's what the Prime Minister said. They are going to rebuild brick by brick. I love that. You know, I love that. You got to get a kind of fortitude. Come what may, you can keep pushing forward. Right? Come what may, you will keep pressing forward. And in the midst of that, you know, I was so ashamed. That every other island helping their citizenry, Auntie Sandra, every other island, let ring the bell and take a breather. Every other island helping their citizenry and ours, my God, we couldn't help our students, right? We are the fastest growing economy in the world. I mean, come on now, Auntie Sandra, they got to come for something, right? They got to come for something. The fastest growing economy in the world. You know what it is to have parents and they see you starving and left you to die? No good parent would do that. The good book itself says, how many of you would have a child who asks for a rock or bread and you give them stone? Isn't that what the good book says? Who asks for bread and you give them stone? And now we're seeing Guyanese students, they tell us, who've been studying at the University of the West Indies. They said they were disappointed by their government's lack of support during Hurricane Melissa. Right? Listen to me. I tell you this. Guyanese everywhere. This is very, very sad. And I saw the government says that Prime Minister, who's the Prime Minister again? No, Phillips. Mark Phillips, the brigadier. He is going to be coordinating its efforts to help the Jamaicans. That's all well and good, but I'm certain you folks understand and know and appreciate what it means when the guys say charity begins at home. You know, I read this and I was so ashamed. I was so ashamed. We bent our heads as we should in collective shame. You know, I was so ashamed, honest to God, that we would do this to our students. That's what the folks said. That is what the folks said. They felt disappointed. You know, I know what it is, right? I'll tell you an experience I had as a parent. And I'll bring you in. I'm just talking about it and I feel so sad, honest to God. I feel so sad because I remember this particular incident I had. That was an incident of sorts. I remember this particular story that I had. You know, there's one point in my life I was a single parent. My son, when he was here at that point, my big son, he's turning 18 next year. He's going to be 18 next year. He was young. He was I don't think he had gone to grade 6s yet, but he was at School of the Nations while he was here. And I remember one day I was late in carrying lunch for him. And as I got to that school, I saw my son outside. He was some part of the school. I remember him bracing and he was looking so sad. He was away from his friends. He was away from his friends and he had such a sad look on his face. And I remember that day, and I vow that I would never be late in dropping off his lunch for him again. I would never do it to him again. He didn't complain to his friends. He didn't beg them for anything or anybody for anything. But he was just by himself in a part of the school with his head bowed and not wanting the others to see that he didn't have his lunches yet. So I could just imagine how these students feel. Some students were evacuated, were flown back to their home country to let the storm pass. I could imagine our children fearing for life and limb because you live all your years. You live your life in this country. We know nothing but we might have 1 or 2 water spouts that might give you a scare and you start confessing your sins one to another. But we have never had nothing like Hurricane Melissa. You have the Jamaicans frightened. Imagine the Guyanese. The students said they were disappointed that the PPP government's lack of support during Hurricane Melissa. One student described sheltering in concrete halls while the Category 5 storm battered the island and lamented that other parents brought food for their kids on time. Lamented that other governments evacuated their nationals, whereas Guyanese were left on their own. I'm talking to you all, the edges of my eyes tearing up. You see, I tell you all, it is in moments like this. You see the real people stand up, Holly, Rena. It is not in times of quietude, man, when them boys could come from community to community and in poetry they try to woo you. But it's in time of difficulties, Wayne Caesar, you see exactly who people are. And that is why I made a point that I saw the Honorable Minister Onish Waldron flitting about the place for weeks on end. Every time she sees a mic, oh, I'm doing this, and body cameras, and oh, the prisons, and oh, this, and. But when terror struck last Sunday, the 26th day of October, when terror struck on Regent Street, where was the minister? When buildings burning, everybody's run out. They don't know what fear that thing has driven into the citizens. Today I pulled up on the at a roundabout, waiting to proceed, a whole line of cars, and I saw what is usually be sandbags lining right next to those cars on the median. Right? On the median, I saw sandbags intermittently. And I say, Duncan, just in case, Father, take my life and let it be consecrated unto thee. You know, I said, Duncan, just in case this bag next to you here. That is what the events of Sunday the 26th has done to us. How many motorists watch them sandbags? You know, they sweep up the sand from the side of the road, and they just left the bag right there. They just left the bag right there. Homie said expecting flood. It's the sand they sweep up and just how they left it. Just how they left it. One man got the contract for sweep up. Another man got the contract for pick up. Another man got the contract. That's how they're doing it. For empty. You see? I said, Father, watch this. Mandy, watch this baggy. Right? Meiji says, you recommend I be a pastor. I told you I was heading there. Right? But then the Lord knocked me off my horse on my Damascus road. He said, I got a higher calling for you. He said, I got a higher calling for you, Sherrod. You know? Some of y'all like story. But our students, seriousness, says they were disappointed. Disappointed. So I don't know if the Prime Minister Mark Phillips, if he foot short or what. But I could imagine. Like my son all those years ago, you know. Philip, a very good evening to you. Philip Drayton on the live. I could imagine my son. Philip is a good guy. You all give Philip some shout outs there, man. Philip says, good night. Get a comment, some hearts for me. Give Philip comment. Philip Drayton, he's a good guy. I remember all those years ago, that thing never left me. Listen to me. My kids, I never make promises I can't keep. I never push up myself. If I say come in, I come in. If I say this thing is your own, it's your own. You ain't gonna fight up. You ain't gotta fight up. You know? Our middle son, he turns 10 in December. And he said, Daddy, this is what I want. I look at it and I say, all right, in my head, I'm boxing some figures. Put this here, put this, get it for him. He's been watching this gift for a long time now. And in my heart, I say, you know what? I'm going to get it for him. When I said that, that's the thing, you know. I'm immovable. Right? I like the tree planted by the river. You can't. That's the kind of parent I am. I say, come and try, come. If I ain't coming, I ain't coming. I had a stage in my life, making off a be fake and fraud and all that. The thing is what it is. The thing is what it is. Philip, you get a lot of hearts here from Wilma and the folks. You know? So I could imagine this thing hurt me. As though these were my kids. These were my kids being left stranded like that. A whole government. Right? What's the acronym? That spells 5 more years for them. God of mercy. 5 more years for them. It's so sad. But our thoughts with our countrymen, our thoughts with our students, our thoughts are with the Jamaicans. I love me some folks who you've done well and you come back and you still chip in to help. You're not abandoned we. You know, you're not abandoned us. Some guy needs to abandon your country. And sometimes when I think of what operates, I understand why we're abandoned. If you got a government, a country that don't remember the students, right? In times of great need, them same students will abandon you. I can see them students getting the degree, the masters, they have a master's degree. They're undergraduate, the masters, the PhD, and same flap y'all. That's why you reach some people 30 years later, they say never been back home. Right? And some of you chime in and say, well, you're missing nothing. You're missing nothing. Look, they abandoned the children them. They abandoned the children in Jamaica. I think Hurricane Melissa is going to go along as one of the all-time great hurricanes. It has leveled some parts of Jamaica. You know, I don't follow hurricanes in the region very closely, but based on what the Prime Minister showed us, thoughts and prayers with the Jamaicans, you know. Thoughts and prayers. I saw the hospital flattened. Thoughts and prayers. People go, they've done well. This doctor has come home. He donated some textbooks to the university. You know, When we went to university back in the days, as younger people, the library, it was very outdated. Mind you, the PP had been in power for about 20 years at that point. You know, library outdated. I'm happy now. You go and you got books. They're coming up. They're coming. They're coming into the 21st century. And here is this Guyanese, right, orthopedic surgeon practicing in the United States. He donated a number of surgery and other medical books to the University of Guyana Library. I'm so happy. So our kids can benefit now from updated. That's important. Right? At one point, we thought, as a humanity, we thought the earth was flat. You could imagine reading some book now and say, "What's the earth flat?" So people thought if you walk too far out, you could fall off. You know, we don't want to, put our children on that. No, so we got to get modern, updated stuff. And I'm thankful for people like this who helps in this way. And no doubt the library and all of the folks were very, very grateful for this timely donation that the library folks and the university administration says is going to build a rigorous curriculum, right? And it will lay a foundation deep in our students. That's good. That is very, very good. So our thank you to this orthopedic surgeon who made this very, very timely donation to the University of Guyana and all the other folks who made this donation possible. I thought I'd just give a shout out there. People who keep us moving forward and in the right direction, right? So some good stuff there. Some very, very good stuff there. Lots of stuff happening, good folks. Lots of good stuff happening. Right? Y'all forgive me for a good second. I didn't see it in the notes there, and I wanna be very kind to the folks who made this donation. This is a US-based Guyanese Dr. Keith Cummins who made this donation. US-based Guyanese Dr. Keith Cummins. Didn't see it in the notation. I wanted to just make sure I stuck it in. Dr. Keith Cummins. Thank you, Dr. Keith. Y'all give a shout out to Dr. Keith. I even know Dr. Keith on. Somebody watching probably know Dr. Keith because it's such a small country. It's about 13 away here, got about 7 in front of the embassy right now. So thank you, Dr. Keith. That being said, folks, I wanna bring you forward to some of what we learned last evening, for instance, in this press conference by the Minister of Home Affairs, who had to come back and come out this evening and walk back some of what she said. We all heard it. But that being said, I didn't think we touched on last evening that they vowed this death penalty. Right? I hope they don't have to come and walk this back. Right? And this is something else. It is very interesting. I didn't know what Arfan was aiming at here when he talked about the death penalty, but because we are part of international conventions that no longer subscribe to the death penalty. We're part of a whole regime of international convention in which this is now the death penalty is now deemed as cruel and inhumane punishment. And that is why you have a long line of death row inmates who have had that death sentence commuted to life. So it sounds nice, and I wish, could we just be honest with our people at PPP? Could we just be honest with our people? But then again, it's the PPP. So that's an oxymoron. PPP and honest in the same sentence. Two things oppose each other. PPP and honesty. Right? When last we hang somebody in this country? When last we put somebody to death via lethal injection? Because of the things we subscribe to. Even though I think some people deserve it. Those people who take the life of women and girls and kids and so on. Oh, you all deserve the hangman. Please and thank you. You deserve the hangman. But we gotta be cognizant. Ghana does not subscribe to the death penalty any longer. Right? I don't know if it is legal. I know by practice, by convention. Right? And over time, convention has to wait a law. So I wish there would be, it sounds nice. Oh my God. When I was thinking about this dastardly, wicked and evil act that was perpetuated on Guyanese, because we'll be the scar of this for a long time, I asked myself the question, y'all remember the fella who jumped over the State House fence? Stabbed a security guard, one of the presidential guards, fought with others there. Whatever happened to that matter? One of the tragedies we got, one of the setbacks we got in this country, we have a very short attention span. A very short attention span. One man could come out tomorrow and you forget the whole week. We forget the whole week. Somebody could do something tonight and we forget the last 40 years. It's like Men in Black with a little memory thingy. Look in this direction, clicks. We forget the last 40 years. Clear as day. We forget that. We forget it daily clear. That's one of the challenges we have as a people. Short-term or is it long-term memory loss? Or it's both. It's a mixture depending on which day. So we saw this, we said, bring it to your attention. And now we're hearing of surveillance video now shows the main suspect doing reconnaissance in that area there. Folks, I'll tell you this. Artificial intelligence is one of my passions. It's slowly becoming, let me put it that way, one of my passions. I try to read up on it as much as possible, and we benefit from it a lot in our programs here. Right? We benefit a lot from it. And our program as well. Right? And this, I won't want to say new science because it's been around for a long time. There's now been some major advances on it. NVIDIA, one of the companies that enables this quantum leap in artificial intelligence, they make the chips. I saw this afternoon on Apple News. NVIDIA has now surpassed even its own top ranking. Just a few months ago, it was the world's wealthiest company at listen to this, $1 trillion. Not Guyana trillions, US trillions, 3 trillion. 6 months later, 4 trillion. Today, they're telling us that NVIDIA surpassed $5 trillion as the world's most valued company. NVIDIA used to be Apple, now it's NVIDIA because of these chips they are making that allows this fast computation that is needed for AI to function. Right? So this is the future. You get a chance, friends, to read up on AI. Don't listen to what the PP tell you with AI. Do your own reading and research. It's a fascinating frontier, a fascinatingly new frontier, right? Because as I said, it's been around for a little while, picking up speed and picking up pace. But based on what we knew, what we know now, while we yet knew what we knew before, we still knew nothing. So the point I wanted to make by saying all of that, we live in an age, you got to question everything you see. And especially with the kind of government that we have in the PPP. You have to question everything you see. Everything. They will tell you. This city girl going a red and black ram in front of this hotel. She's not inside. As a matter of fact, we sponsored by Virgin Nugent. We sponsored by Virgin Nugent. Or wherever. You know. And then, whoops, next morning, girl in the pool. As though somebody brought her back. Girl in the pool. And I don't believe this government appreciates. I don't believe they appreciate the time in which they're operating and the trust deficit under which they're operating. I don't believe that they themselves have a healthy appreciation for that. Because they're still operating like everything is well and good. Right? They're still going on like everything is well and good. And everything is not. You know, can I tell them that? Can we inform them? Everything is not. Nothing irregular. But here is where we are, alas, good folks. Here is where we are, they said. Based on CCTV camera footage and some angle, the man might look different. And if you take it from another angle and the camera and the lighting and the this and the that and the what's not and such and so forth, things might look a certain way and so on. But it's based on CCTV camera footage. Based on CCTV camera footage, the man was wrecking the area long before, you see. This is the bits and pieces as it's coming out. Bits and pieces. They said the investigators have learned that the bomber and accomplices, including a hire car driver, visited the gas station in a white car, purchased food, and observed the area for hours before placing the bomb. Right? That's what they're telling us. For hours before placing this bomb. And according to the authorities, after triggering the explosion, they fled to Region 3, where several suspects were later arrested. That's what we're being told. Right? I'm certain of my doubts. Very certain of all my doubts. That being said, folks, illegal immigration, we've raised this topic ad nauseum. Is that a Latin phrase? We've raised it ad nauseum. And the people have always, oh, the rabble rousers. Right? Or sometimes use the other R word. Oh, they know what they're talking about. And so on. Oh, it's not so grave. Oh, you all stop trying to instill fear and the politics of fear and so on. Right? And we've raised this topic consistently over the last 5 years in the National Assembly. Raised it from several angles on how we can curb this illegal migration and the effects, from what we saw on the 26th to soft invasion if we don't curb this thing. But remember, these folks only had the consideration of padding the list. You see, giving ID cards to whoever may come and vote and thing. And today I heard a Manza articulating that some of what the minister now is articulating is what the APNU AFC coalition exposed over the last 5 years. When a man's on a different side of the aisle spoke to those issues as the point person on foreign affairs, spoke to those issues. So here was some of the ministers rationalizing last evening on the way forward, what the government is going to do. And now walking back that Take a look.
Venezuelans, migrants who come here through our ports, they're all registered. Their details are taken. However, we have acknowledged that the borders are porous and some people do enter illegally. And to address that, the government has launched the EID program. And what will happen is that we will have cards, that is, this program has already started, has already been rolled out. We have cards for citizens and we have cards for non-citizens. And what we will do is for the persons who are in Guyana illegally, they will be given a grace period in which to come to register and have this EID card. This card, you will not be able to do anything, perform any, access any services, banking without this EID card for non-citizens. And they will be given a grace period. After that grace period is expired and you do not register and have an EID card, you will be taken out of the country and other sanctions will be implemented. That is the policy.
Yeah. Folks, in which country of the world you can go illegal and get a EID card to access banking and NIS, and in which country? And then the minister comes out today and said, I didn't see all of that. And then it's Rabbi Roses. It's the same set. And here's a man who was in his ear when she was on the AFC side of the aisle. You know, wailing into some of these same issues of illegal migration and, you know, policies that might be put in place, and the same thing is Rabbi Rose and so on. What a difference a year makes. What a difference a year makes. What a difference. Take a look, folks. Take a listen.
Made the observation that Finland closed its borders with Russia, and they did this on the premise that the government of Finland was concerned that it was what they called a hybrid operation, tantamount to what they said was a soft invasion of the country. And what they did is that they closed the borders and redirected all of the citizens to declare themselves at ports of entry. My question, therefore, is the minister, can the minister say to this House whether the government is currently contemplating a system where migrants who are undocumented will be required to present themselves to the authorities so that they can be properly registered, issued with the relevant documentation, and therefore, numerically, we will have an accurate count. I say this because in Region 10, for example, the statistics that were proffered suggest that there are no Venezuelans in Region 10, or I happen to be a Lindoner and I know otherwise. And so there's clearly a disconnect between what we are saying in the House and what the reality is on the ground. And so my question is, how and what procedure will the government put in place to ensure that we have as accurate a count as possible, and whether this mandatory presentation of migrants to authorities to be duly registered is on the cards?
Honourable Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I did say that the records that we have relate to persons who come to areas where they would contact immigration officers. And that in Linden itself, there isn't a place. It is not at the frontier or places where people come through. Say if people come through from the mouth of the of the Orinoco to Morupa or Perica, where they would be able to present themselves and be recorded and be given the appropriate ED card with information. So it is a bit different. There would be, offshore, perhaps, Venezuelans in Linden in Region 10 itself, who might have gone there for various other reasons. But in respect of what the question was asked for, I've given the answer already. In relation to people going to particular areas of to be recorded on entering the country, those places already exist. We have, of course, as a cliche that our borders are porous and so on and so forth. We're making efforts to, and in fact, we have to a certain extent through the ministry itself, set up little patrol groups going through areas to identify people and route them to areas where they can be properly documented. That work is ongoing. But as I said, we're not in similar circumstances as some other countries.
Mr. Speaker, I heard the Honorable Minister allude to a process. I am not sure that he'd answered my question, but I wanted to know, can the Minister advise whether, and I may have missed it, there have been any, for example, advertisements in the local news, a newspaper of wide circulation requiring Venezuelan migrants who may be undocumented to present themselves to authorities to be documented?
Honorable Minister of Home Affairs.
There has not been, in the press itself, if I remember, any specific thing related to Venezuelan immigrants. We have said, and we have put out in our on social media and on our websites for the ministry, the request for people to come and be documented. And we put it out to those persons who are leaders or influencers in the various communities that they must come and document themselves. In fact, I would say that over the past 3 or 4 weeks, the amount of persons coming to be re-registered or to be documented again have increased perhaps tenfold.
Mr. Speaker, I want to be advised by the Honorable Minister whether there are any legal consequences that will attach to persons failing to present themselves to be registered.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, there are, of course, legal consequences. I want to remind the honorable member that we still have thousands of Guyanese who are still in Venezuela and in other places, and we should not be in a position. We should not be in a position where we seem to be going off any particular group, particularly with respect to this group at this time.
Yeah. In his own words, in their own words, that's the policy of the PPP. And now they want to make it seem as though somebody is painting them wrong, painting them incorrectly. That's what they want to make it to seem. Somebody wronging them. You know? When they are the real culprits. They have brought this upon us. And now trying to deflect and clothes and this found here and this found there and man was over there and the clothes was over there and the hat and the shoe and the belt. Shame on the PPP. Shame on the PPP. Shame on them. Shame on them. Bringing us to this yet again, a sad moment in a nation's history. Yet again, yet again. Let us leave it there for tonight, folks. Let us leave it there. I'm cognizant that there are other programs happening elsewhere that you folks might want to be part of as well. I want to be very cognizant of that. Let's leave it there. Please and thank you. Pray for this country, folks. Pray for this country. PP, I need help. You got to pray for us. Juliet Mickle and Sherwin and Bernice and is it Meiji? Do I have that right? Meiji. Thanks all for joining us this evening. That's going to do it for us at this end. Some beautiful folks in the life tonight. Bozeman and Meiji and Joseph and Joyce. I see Audrey and June, Eva, Mandy, Melissa, Lester. Good to have all of you on the broadcast. That's going to do it for us at this end. That's our time, folks. And that's our broadcast. Stay safe. Share the live as you go. Smash that emoji button as well. Penelope, we see you there. Wanda, Everett, Mandy, Jacqueline, Jamal. Good to see you on the live. Joy and Edward and all the other folks. Let's leave it there. Stay safe.